Hey, welcome back to the channel. So, a lot of times I hear from my students all the time, and they struggle with still trying to exercise some type of self care routine. So, I wanted to create a video to give you all some great self care tips that you can still execute even though you're on a budget. So if you haven't done it already, I need you to hit that like, subscribe button right now. Yes, I am needy. But of course, I always don't have these conversations by myself. I always feel like it's a good idea to bring somebody else to talk about it. So I got one of my financial family with me, and we're just going to share some different tips for men and women and things that you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him to the stage. Hey, how
Hey,
you doing?
hey, hey.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
So, who are you? Who are you? Tell
Oh,
us.
well, my name is Anthony Weaver. I'm the host of the About That Water podcast, where we help you bring strong financial habits. I had so bad. Oh my gosh. But this is
Okay.
unedited. It's cool. It's cool.
It is
We're
what it
gonna
is.
roll with it. We're gonna roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it. Like
Because
this is
it's
real.
how
We
we
have
do.
real conversations over
Right.
here. Like this is not edited and pretty and prissy. Like these are
Mhm.
real money conversations for real money problems. So
Right.
as you said, he helps you build good financial habits. Me, I help you release the stress with your money mistakes. So essentially, there are so many different avenues when it comes. We realize that it might be a struggle when you're going through this journey. Your financial journey is not going to be straight. It's not a straight line. It's going to go like this, and it's going to be like the worst roller coaster you've ever seen at Six Flags. Like,
Yeah.
so
I look at it as like a sugar rush. You have your highs and everything is looking great and amazing, but then as soon as that thing comes down, you don't even know when it's going to happen. You could be still having that same moment, and it just kind of, you know what, this isn't fun anymore. Let me do
exactly.
something else.
And
So
I realize while you're going through these ups and downs, a lot of times we tend to, I know about us ladies, and you can share, when it comes to the men, but a lot of times we tend to put our self care or ourselves on the back burner. And that's one of the worst things you can do because that's going to cause burnout. We're really good at making sure that everybody else is great and everything's on point and everything's on time and what else needs to be done. But when it comes to something happening or a change in plans, we're very quick to put our own things on the chopping block. But later, then we get frustrated because we haven't had that break. We didn't take that self care time. And
yeah.
go
Oh,
ahead.
and one of the things, like when it comes to, I mean, for guys, most of us, it's like for self-care is usually like, do we physically feel good? Like, can we still do what we used to be able to do? Either the 40 push-ups that we used to do when we were in high school. Can we still run as fast as we used to? Can we still do these sit-ups or push-ups and leg lift? Some of us might have gotten out of shape, but we still try to do something to feel good, either getting our hair cut, just something to make us feel good, in the sense of it's more like a physical aspect more so than just a mental relaxation.
Oh, that's good to know. So I'm going to learn some things too, y'all. So it's true because it's very important to practice self care. But I don't think everybody understands that self-care can be a very something very simple. The whole point is to have that time for yourself, that me time, and whatever that looks like. And that's probably going to look different for each person. It's probably going to look different for you, even on different days, like depending on how much you need. So, but it's very important to take that moment for yourself, get that breather, decompress. All of those things are very important. And believe it or not, it can affect your ability to show up for yourself and show up for others because you can't take care of somebody else and then you're burned out, you're tired, you're fatigued. You're not going to really be showing up the best way for anybody at that point. So I just think it's really important to make sure that you're practicing some form of self care.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about starting, one of the things I try to say a lot to my clients and also to my audience is that raindrops creates oceans. And what I mean by that is starting small. if you only have about 5 minutes or, maybe even 3 minutes, if you're taking that time to scroll on Instagram or any other type of platform, you can take that moment to either do a squat, do a plank. If you're in the car, just go ahead on and take a stretch. Just open up your arms and just take it all in, because just something about having that power stance of anything to just kind of open yourself up, it takes a break, from life a little bit while you're still getting entertained at the same time. So is to do both, but to actually take awareness and self-awareness of what you're doing, not just from scrolling and everything like that. That does have an impact.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I feel so strongly about this topic. And, as a single parent, my daughter's 23 now, but it's still different times where you have to creating boundaries is a form of self-care. So I got up and wrote a whole blog post about this today. Like, that's how strongly I felt about it, because as I start to think and you start to reflect and you think about things that's like, why did I do that? Like,
Right.
or you think about
I
like
know
that
what you're
feeling of being overwhelmed, and but then you have to be honest and realize that you're part of the reason why you're overwhelmed, because you didn't stop and make it a priority to show up for yourself.
Right. And because you're overwhelmed, it comes to that priority of what is a priority at that time. Multitasking is something that we're just touching on, even though multitasking doesn't mean multi-thinking. Multitasking can be while you're driving, you can still be listening to an audiobook that kind of help you, rejuvenate yourself, or you're listening to a podcast or listening to this YouTube video. And something that can kind of take your mind into a different direction, but you're still focused on your end goal. And what does I mean by that? But is building off of starting small. You already taking those small steps, you already know what you can do in those minute moments in time. But now let's expand that. Let's take a moment and just really think of the possibility of, taking it a little further. Instead of a raindrop, you now start coming down like hail. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't start that way. It start off usually snow, then it, heats up, and then it becomes rain by the time it hits the ground. But if you start off as ice and then you start to melt, yeah, that's when the magic happens.
Oh, we getting philosophical. Yeah, getting philosophical today.
You gonna make it happen.
So, what kind of tips would you give men, like ways that they can? I mean, we on a financial journey. We keeping it real that you may not always be able to show up like you used to. But what are some good self care tips for men on a budget?
Well, for self-care, when it comes to men, majority of the time when we're talking about just having that moment in time for yourself is one, fit something in like Nia said, which actually have those boundaries. One of the things of having a boundary is that you're saying no to a lot of things so you can say yes to yourself. When you go to work, you say no to all the phone calls that are coming in. You saying no to all the interruptions because you're actually saying yes to the work that you dedicated and the reason why the employer hired you in the first place. So take that same energy towards yourself. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to say, this is my me time. Schedule like short breaks just to relax. Like take a bathing, do a little journal or something like that. Maybe even call a friend, a buddy that you trust and that you don't mind just having that open discussion, and just really take time to decompress. Because I know for me, when I come home from work, I at least need anywhere between a half hour to an hour to decompress from the drive to work, from the people at work. I don't need to talk about work. Like when I'm off work, I'm not talking about work. I don't care
I
about
love
what
people.
you know,
Other people.
right. Like,
Woo.
yo, this is my me time. Okay. So I'll play video games for like 10 minutes. But like I said, during those 10 minutes, I'm doing planks or whatever. Or, you know, we just need that time to get decompress. Cause a lot of guys that I talk to, they would be like, when I get home, my wife or my girl be just asking me about their day and talking about this and stuff like that. Now, if there's some tea to be spilled, I
Yeah,
got a
we
cup,
talk.
huh?
I said we want to talk.
Yeah. But when there's tea to be spilled, trust me, I'm grabbing my cup. You know, I got the mug sitting right here. It's about that wallet mug. If you want one, just go to the website. But just saying. But besides that, if any tea being spilled, I'm okay. I can decompress, have a moment. And for those of you who are single that are doing this, it's okay. You know, you already feel like you already have enough me time. It might be time to just kind of listening to other people's stories. And it's okay.
So let me just stick up for the single people and say that just because you're single does not mean that you get more me time. So
I
do
mean, like you might,
do not put that
right?
out there because single people are busy too, and
Yeah.
we have things going on. Because I am the singlest of single, okay. But baby, it is so hard. Like that's why I travel so much because
Hmm.
that's the only way for me to. Because think about it, when you
Mm.
are sometimes when you call yourself sitting down in your house, sometimes you're not really taking a break. I'm thinking about, oh man, I was supposed to do this. Oh man, dang, I got to go get those groceries for this. Oh dang, I forgot. Like my mind is still moving, so that's not as much of a break. So I guess that'll go into my self-care tips. Learn how to
So
shut your brain off.
yes.
That's something for women that we struggle with a lot, and I don't know if men struggle with that, but a lot of us struggle with shutting our brain off. If you got to find a YouTube video to start learning and start that process, learn how to shut your brain off.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do, because it's free, I do a lot of free things to cut your brain off. It's almost like budgeting. Uh, I have a budget calendar, and one of the things that I need to start doing more in my budget calendar is actually scheduling out my time where I'm not thinking about the budget. I'm
Mhm.
not thinking about the house, thinking about myself in the moment of like, hey, did I wash the bathroom or did I, vacuum or anything like that? Like, no, like have schedule out your time of the week. I say the week, like find your one day, your 1/2 hour out the week where you know what, this is your decompression day and time and like moment so that you can either do your self meditation and stuff like that. Like schedule those out. And shutting it off is, I mean, you can do something mindless. Just
Mhm.
think about it, like something that you enjoy doing that takes you away from it all. Either reading a book, which we mentioned earlier, if you go running or you ride your bike or something like that. I think that would be great.
Okay, so my tips, some of them are actually similar to, so journaling was definitely on my list of things that you can do, whether you do it daily or weekly, stopping and taking that moment. I would say yoga and meditation is also a very good one. And that also might help you start to learn how to shut your brain off. But YouTube University is one of the best universities we got. I actually know a few people that I follow on there. I follow fitness videos. I follow which fitness too. Following a creator on YouTube and doing their fitness videos, it helps release endorphins, which will help you be in a better mood. Journaling, taking naps. Don't sleep on naps.
Yeah.
Okay, ain't nothing like a midday nap, baby. Wake up refreshed. So that's something else that you could do. I like the bike ride idea. I think that that was a pretty good one that I didn't even think about. For those with children, especially if you have small children, consider building a buddy system where you have this group of people that your kids go to their house, their kids come to your house, and then that way, even if you sitting at home and you doing nothing, y'all know how wonderful it is to be able to have some food and nobody wants any of it. Nobody's interrupting you, asking you for anything. You don't have to share it. Y'all know y'all be sitting in the car when y'all come from the restaurant so y'all can have some food by yourself. So imagine if you sent your kids somewhere and you sent your kids to just one day a month, one day every other month. Trust me, give your kids a bedtime and be firm on their bedtime. It's not only about like helping them build structure, it's also about that's your time at the end of the day to decompress. You'll know after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock every night, you can just do this and be okay with it and not feel like you're not doing something you're supposed to do. So it's so many ways that you can incorporate different things into your day. And it doesn't mean that you have to take a full day to do these things. Just make them a part of your lifestyle, I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah, and when you talk about the separation and all that stuff like that, like I'll say involve your kids. It can't hurt. If you're gonna have that meditation moment,
It can.
it can. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not saying.
it can.
Okay, it can hurt, but I'm
Mom,
thinking of like if you can have.
mom, 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 look at this. Mom, look what I'm doing. Oh, mom.
But what you can say during that time
Keep doing
frame, you're
that.
like,
Would you be okay with that if I kept doing that for another 5 minutes?
but you could say like, hey, you know what? Let's have this moment and let's have a meditation moment. Let's make this a meditation moment.
Okay.
I mean, it might not work for you. You would know your child better than I would,
Yeah,
obviously.
especially
But
depending on the age. If it's a toddler,
yeah,
baby, that ain't working. That's
right.
not working. And then even that, like, if you got a child that like likes to play the game or they old enough to go with their friends, you might have a better chance of doing those things. But
Yeah.
some children are needy and they like they're clingy. And not saying it in a bad way, like anything's wrong, but some children are very attached to their parents. And sometimes it's our fault because we create we lack the boundaries and thus we don't create them. So they feel like anything that's ours is theirs. Anything
Mm,
that we doing they can do with us. And it's like, no, I have to, like I talked to my cousin yesterday. Her child will be 2. She hasn't had any time alone since he was born.
mm,
That's not healthy.
yeah.
So it's like children grow this attachment. Like they will skip over their father and go straight to their mama, even
Mm.
though their father was in front. Like I'm telling you, somebody's gonna watch this
Wow.
video and be like, "Yes!"
Well, look, I don't have any kids, so I had nothing to say. I was like, all right.
And I'm not saying it like it's a
Yeah.
bad thing. Like I'm not saying it like you want to get rid of your kids. It's not that. It's just sometimes you need that moment where you don't have to share. You don't have to worry about them wanting what you can. Mom, can I have some?
Yeah.
Mom, can I have some? And it's like it's not that you don't want to give them none. It's just
You don't
it's
want to get them none. You like, just go on and say what it is. Like, why you?
not all the time. Not all the time. Sometimes, you just want that moment. Like, I'm gonna tell you, women literally go to the restaurant when they're on their way home from work and sit in the car just for peace before they
Mm,
walk into the house. And they will sit in the car and they will eat the food and they will just, you know, enjoy that moment. If 10 minutes in the car is your only self-care, sis, that ain't it.
yeah.
That's not it.
Because self care should be an investment, not
Mhm.
just a byproduct. Like you're investing in yourself, and there's a reason why it's called self care for a reason. You want to make sure that you're not budgeting. Like we also talked about budgeting your time and really protecting your time,
Yeah.
but when it comes to your resources as well, because it's like like how you were saying, like having that community that's part of your resource, having a household that's something that they can consume and actually like, you know what, everything's set up for you over here, like from people with the kids, like, or if you with somebody, whatever, like you go have all of that and I will have my peace for this 30 minutes. Can y'all just give me 30 mints?
That's all I
That's
ask.
it.
I used to have that rule though. Like when my daughter was growing up, same like you. When I come in, the first give me, I think I don't remember what our time limit was, but I had a time limit that don't ask me for anything, don't tell me anything about school. Because that's another thing too. Kids like to come home the day before their science project is due, or the day before a picture day,
Right.
and then tell you, "Oh, I have picture day." So now I have to get you ready for pictures by tomorrow. Like now we got to go to Walgreens, the 24-hour Walgreens, because your science project due tomorrow, and I don't want you to fail. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
kids do some crazy stuff.
But I
They
wonder, how could we like help the parents out there ahead of time? It's like, do you
you can
schedule?
try that.
You can
You can
try.
try, but children not gonna listen to that. Even
Well,
my
I mean, like
child.
make it part of the dinner conversation or the evening I'll say evening because I really didn't even have dinner with my mom growing up.
I think I didn't
So
either, but I think the school should get the information to the parents because that's who they want to
Well,
participate.
they send it home with the kids. When I was teaching, I used to send everything home with the kids. Like, hey, give this to your parent. Like,
And
whatever.
why are we doing that? Why are
But
we giving everything to the child,
right.
but
Well,
we want the parent to do something?
back then, all the parents didn't have emails, so you
Yeah,
know,
I feel like now they have
yeah,
probably have better
yeah,
channels to get things to the parents. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Definitely don't forget to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button. And tell us down in the comments, what are you doing to practice self-care on a budget? So
yep.
see you next time.
Peace.